Hey guys, it's Jay. Welcome back to my channel. We're discussing the popular culture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Today I wanted to continue my series on the legendary Voltron. Today I wanted to take a much closer look at Vehicle Voltron. This actually was supposed to be the very first Voltron released on TV. It ended up being that it was the line Voltron. And in a lot of ways, it's probably best that the line Voltron came out. Vehicle Voltron does stand the test of time, and I really wanted to take a closer look at it today. I think many people who grew up in the 80s watching Voltron has, well, shall I say, mixed feelings about Vehicle Voltron. It started out somewhere in the middle of seasons 1 or 2 from line Voltron, and when it was actually introduced to us, it was sort of weird because the introduction sequences of both Voltrons were thematically exactly the same.
From days of long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend. The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe. A mighty robot, loved by good, feared by evil.
This confusion would be compounded by the fact that the actors from line Voltron actually came over and did many of the voices for Vehicle Voltron. Not to mention that many of the character designs from Vehicle Voltron look similar to the characters in line Voltron. Once again, back in the 1980s, my little 5-year-old mind was blown. The story of Vehicle Voltron, suffice it to say, is extremely different from that of line Voltron. The only thing connecting the two really seems to be Galaxy Garrison. And in this particular story, Galaxy Garrison has discovered that, well, the planet Earth is overcrowded. So it's made the decision to actually send out a ship to explore the galaxy to find new habitable planets. Early on in their exploration, they meet an alien race known as the Drule Empire. And unfortunately, the Drule have decided that human beings are invading their own territory. So they start a long campaign of war against the humans. It's really pushed upon us at the beginning of the series that human beings are simply going out to the universe to find their own habitable planet. It's also indicated to us that Voltron itself, the robot which is created to defend the space explorers on their long mission, is only for defense, and it's never meant as an actual weapon.
I don't see the problem.
But mighty Voltron is only to be used as the very last resort.
If all else fails, the land, sea, and air teams can combine to form the giant robot.
The exploration teams usually consist of 3 specialized groups. One group is specialized in land exploration. Another group specializes in sea exploration, whereas the last group also is specialized in air and atmospheric exploration. This is very important. As we all know, humans can only live in a very finite type of environment. We have to be able to have water, we have to be able to have oxygen, and we have to be able to cultivate the land which we live on. So these specialized teams are always sent out first to survey the actual planet itself and make sure that the land is habitable, the sea is abundant with life, and the air is breathable. Vehicle Voltron consists of 3 main teams: Air Team, Sea Team, and Land Team. Air Team is consisted of 5 members. We'll start with Jeff. He's the overall leader of the entire Vehicle Voltron team. And he sounds an awful lot like line Voltron's Keith for some reason, and pilots the Commander Jet Explorer No. 1 that forms the head of Voltron. There's Rocky, who sounds an awful lot like line Voltron's Hunk. An avid foodie, he pilots the Strata Weapons Module No. 2 that forms the upper chest of Voltron. Wolo is the pilot of Advanced Recon Helicopter No. 3 that becomes the upper right arm of Voltron. He comes from an unnamed planet in the series. Chip is the youngest member of the team, and sounds an awful lot like Pidge from line Voltron, and for good reason. It's revealed later on that he's Pidge's twin brother. He pilots the Advanced Recon Helicopter No. 4, forming the top left arm of Voltron. And finally, there's Ginger, who pilots the Falcon Jet Fighter No. 5 that forms the chest plate of Voltron. Land Team consists of 5 members. Cliff is the charismatic leader of the Land Team, and he pilots the Jet Radar Station number 11 that forms the lower torso and hips of Voltron. Cinda also comes to the same sea planet as Crick and demonstrates some of the same powers. She pilots the rotating personal carrier number 12 that forms the right forearm of Voltron. MODOK, also known as the gentle giant of the team, he pilots the armor equipment carrier number 13 that forms the left forearm of Voltron. And then there's Marvin and Hutch. These two are best friends and very competitive, particularly with each other. Oftentimes getting into fights with one another, they pilot the all-terrain space vehicles number 14 and number 15 that form the right and left feet of Voltron. C-Team, yep, you guessed it, consists of 5 members. Crick is the leader of the C-Team, and he was born on an unnamed sea planet. He demonstrates psychic powers in the series, and pilots the communication module number 6 that becomes the mid-section of Voltron. Lisa pilots the space prober number 7 that becomes the right thigh of Voltron, and she sounds an awful lot like Princess Allura from Line Voltron. Tangor comes from another unnamed planet, possibly the same as Wolo, and pilots the space probe number 8 that forms the left thigh of Voltron. Shannon pilots the multi-wheeled Explorer number 9 that becomes the lower right leg of Voltron. Zandy pilots the multi-wheeled Explorer number 10 that becomes the left lower leg of Voltron. Let's just say, trying to keep track of 15 different characters in one series is daunting. You sort of recognize the characters facially. Some are actually aliens in themselves who have joined Galaxy Garrison and have their own storylines. But the main characters and their plots are usually consistent with the leaders of the team, which is pretty evident when you start meeting and interacting with each other. The problem therein is, again, the character designs are so, I'm going to say a little bit more generic. So sometimes you'll see a character who you sort of recognize, and because of the voice actor, you understand who it is. But it's hard to keep track of exactly who is talking to who, and who's in a relationship with who, and what exactly they're doing, and why are they doing it. Yeah, it can get pretty confusing pretty quickly.
Air team in position, ready for launch. Team ready for launch. Land team assembled, waiting launch.
But I think a lot more compelling in the series is the actual other characters in the Drule Empire. Peasants, regular citizens, and people who are living on worlds and are in real danger of being displaced. Many of the fleet commanders end up using these people as, well, just victims of circumstance. They will use a planet to actually draw Voltron in. And then finally, when the fleet comes, they actually use the planet as bait. And the people who are inhabiting the planet end up suffering.
Explorer and the Voltron Force. They may be heading for Vima. Be prepared.
I'm sorry you heard that report. Don't get any ideas about escaping. Get back to work. I'll deal with you later.
Voltron is real.
Must be.
Vehicle Voltron, yeah, it's... I wanted to like the series. I really wanted to. I remember my cousin, he had the entire Matchbox set of Vehicle Voltron. Man, what a toy that was. Think about it. You had literally 15 different vehicles, all die-cast with plastic and metal parts. And the way the vehicles themselves looked was pretty freaking interesting. But then, when you actually started transforming this into Voltron, oh wow, first of all, it was really intricate. The kind of clips that were involved, very, very delicate. Now, they would stand up to a pretty decent amount of playtime, surprisingly, but it's not uncommon to find Vehicle Voltron Matchbox sets which really can't connect anymore, or the joints are completely loose. Very similar to the way combiners are with Transformers. But Vehicle Voltron seems to have been within that Japanese scope of innovation to create different types of toys for combining robots.
All units, Team, form torso and arms. Air Team, form head. Voltron, assemble. Connect diatherms. Activate infracell.
Vehicle Voltron is actually based off an original Japanese series, Dairugger XV. This is where all the trouble starts. When localizing Dairugger XV for a North American audience, it was very difficult for the writers to actually take the series which has existed, translating it for North American kids, as some of the concepts were quite difficult to grasp. We're talking about political intrigue, interplanetary conflict, one versus another, good versus evil. It really needed to come down a notch so that North American kids could enjoy it and really buy and play with the toys. So they constructed the story, which was incredibly simple. But some of the elements that they introduced, for example, the fact that Vehicle Voltron had a time limit on how long it could actually fight.
If all else fails, the land, sea, and air teams can combine to form the giant robot. But remember, he has only 5 minutes of stored nuclear power. He's our last line of defense.
I don't even know why they bothered with that concept, as Vehicle Voltron in the series, we can tell, goes on fights for much longer than the allotted time limit that they had actually put on them. I think the idea of that was to actually build tension, in so much as that they had to beat the Robeasts or the Drule commanders in a very finite amount of time.
Hit the auto stabilizers. One minute left, team. Form blazing sword.
It's one of those series to me which, unfortunately, as a kid, was a bit too confusing. Too many teams, too many people, not enough concentration on what the storyline was, and really the conclusion of the series. So I sort of got lost in the whole paradigm of exploring new worlds and trying to find habitable planets for humans to live, versus a conflict between good and evil from the Drule Empire to human beings. Compounded with the fact that really humans are invading a territory which doesn't belong to them to try and find a habitable planet for themselves. Yeah, doesn't really enamor myself to any of those characters in the long run. But if you are interested in looking at Vehicle Voltron for yourself, you can probably look on Amazon or eBay. Search for Vehicle Force Voltron. Well guys, that'll about do it for my look back at Vehicle Voltron. And I'm going to continue my series looking back at Voltron, Defender of the Universe. The next one we're obviously going to be looking at is Gladiator Voltron, a series which we actually did not get here in cartoon form, but we did get to take a look at it in toy form. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like. It really does help me out. If you have any comments on cartoons, toys, collectibles, or anything else you'd like me to review, please leave that in the comment section below. And consider subscribing. This helps YouTube to realize that you guys enjoy my work and that I'm doing a good job. Also, I have a Patreon account, so if you guys would like to support this channel and support some of the work that I do, please go check it out. Guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Keep proud. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the link in the description below. I've got more videos on the way, and we'll see you at the next one. Geek proud.